Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for tuning in to the WGL EU. Special treat for you tonight, of course, as our relegation process does begin. Our pre-relegation matches are tonight. My name is Mitch Leslie. I'm here with my mate, Oliver Maxfield, of course. Tonight, we find which two teams will have to fight to stay in the Gold League.
Exactly. So last week we had the wildcard tournament, which was just to basically see in a single elimination bracket who has the potential to actually play in the relegation, which will be happening tomorrow. The main event is tomorrow. But today we've got to see, which teams will, automatically be in the next season, season 2, and which two teams have to fight once again in that single elimination, which will be happening tomorrow. So it's a big day for these four.
That's right. So obviously between these four teams, we're going to be seeing here, of course, DiNG, StrongSyama, No Mercy and ASAP. Two of these teams tonight will realise their fates and be able to stay in the Gold League, and two teams will have to fight tomorrow against our teams coming up from the wildcard tournament and from the Silver Series. There, they will have to prove themselves against the up-and-comers in the WGL to hold on to their spot. So it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out. But tonight, those four teams that you saw on the screen, they will be going head-to-head. It's a very simple process here. 4 teams, 2 games. The winners will stay in the Gold League. The losers drop down.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a really important thing. I think the main factor for me is to see what they've been doing within that couple of weeks break they've had since the season's obviously finished. Have they just taken some time? How they're going to play in today's matches? But obviously, the website is not 100% correct because of the mini kind of tournament we have. If a team is played against each other, the team that's won obviously gets the higher seeding if they're on the same amount of points. So that's how we're working today. So it will be DiNG versus ASAP as our first match, and StrongSyama and No Mercy as the second.
DiNG versus ASAP here. Last time these two teams went head-to-head, it was back in week number 9. So fairly recently as far as, the WGL is concerned. And it was DiNG with quite a strong showing. A 5-1, I think it was, over ASAP. So, how does that play into your mentality as a team, as an underdog lineup like ASAP coming into this one, knowing that last time you went head-to-head, it wasn't so long ago, and it wasn't so pretty?
Well, I think ASAP has been making some changes, and I think they are a better team when they last went up against each other. So, I would say they have a better chance here. I would say DiNG, yeah, okay, they had that really shaky result, but I think for them, they're really having to make the decision like, okay, are we going to be a top team for next season? Because I think we can all agree at the beginning of the season, we were like, DiNG can actually be a top contender, like a top 5, top 6 team, maybe even better top 4 team, and actually have a chance of going towards the finals. But they didn't deliver. I mean, I think the story is Tornado Rocks managed to turn up and deliver, and DiNG, despite all the training, the work they put into this, they didn't actually manage to get the results they wanted.
DiNG had a lot of faith in themselves, especially as a team who had gone head-to-head with teams like Tornado Rocks, your Virtus Pros, your Castor Crew, all of our high flyers in the Go For What's, as well as proving themselves through the Silver Series. So coming into this tournament, they were definitely feeling quite confident about themselves, and of course into the league itself. Even speaking to Hulknick on a few occasions, he said, I back my team. We are a strong team. We expect to do well here. But I mean, as we reflect a little bit over DiNG's sort of journey, as we sort of make our way in towards this game, they have had some shaky results, like you said. Some results are really, really good, but then results against Virtus Pro, like tiebreakers, even winning some tiebreakers here as well. They really pushed Rocks way back at the start of the season, but then losing some games against some teams that they should not have lost to. Exactly.
I mean, losing against the Polish teams, struggling against teams they shouldn't, losing points in tiebreakers. These are kind of the mistakes that's obviously costing a lot. They've got themselves in the most favourable position, I guess you can call it, in the relegation, where they're 8th place. So, they have to fight against ASAP, who they should beat, despite, previous results in Go4s and stuff like that. But I would say, obviously, this is the first hurdle for these two. If they can win this one match today, because today is just 2 matches, they serve themselves so much heartbreak tomorrow if they do have to, play one of those up and coming Silver Series teams who've been working really hard, and fight someone that's potentially just gets the better of you in this best of 9.
Speaking of heartbreak as well, we cast our thoughts back, of course, to our pre-playoffs where Castor Crew didn't make the top 2. They just fell short, obviously, in the last game of the season, which was unfortunate for them. And then, of course, they went through to the pre-playoffs to decide who would be making it to the finals for this season. And they were upset by Penta Sports in that second day. They lost their match in the upper bracket. They went down, and we said, is this the tilt? Is this the tilt going on now? I don't want to harp on too much about Kazakru, but sometimes, even teams that are confident, they definitely want to save themselves the hassle of having to play that second day, that second round, or in the lower bracket, because there is always possibility for upset. And as a result, Kazakru went from one of the absolute top teams to being usurped by Penta. And now Penta will be there at the finals, and Kazakru will have to watch from the sidelines. But let's tighten up on this one as well, this game, of course. Ruinberg is our first map, and then on to Mines. Now, last time ASAP and DiNG went head-to-head, they did play Mines.
Yep.
I believe it was DiNG that went 2-0 on that one. And Ruinberg has been a very good map for DiNG so far. I mean, think about Rocks, 3-1.
Yep.
Utopia, 3-1. Stroxium, a 3-1. So there's a lot of teams at DiNG. The only team, in fact, that they've lost Ruinberg to is Team Supreme.
Yeah, and the interesting thing there as well, Tornado Rocks, I mean, famously, their favourite map is Ruinberg, one of their strongholds. So we've seen it like through the last part of the season when DiNG has been really trying to get the results, trying to get into that top 6 spot so they can play in the playoffs for a chance to go at the finals. They've been picking Ruinberg, they've been doing well on it, but it just hasn't been enough. Even when they do get to that stage when they're winning, they're getting 2-0 or 3-1 or whatever, like 4-0 potentially on Ruinberg. It's just their second map they seem to really lack on, and that's going to be Mines. So I think if ASAP, who, to be fair, have not been too bad on Ruinberg, if they can just hang on here a little bit, I think they will have a good chance. But again, we've got a situation in ASAP where there's some changes going on once again. At the beginning, we had that whole thing where some of the players just weren't happy with the team captain situation. That will seem to have resolved, for a little while. Then we have another situation where the other team members are not happy with the team captain. So, we have some changes that are potentially coming in for ASAP. And, if that does happen, if that is going to happen here, then you got to wonder, are they going to be using their shot caller, which is, of course, insane for the whole of the season, or are they going to use a different player? And how's that really going to affect their performance?
It's a good question, of course, because we often see Insane just sort of giving his commentary from the sidelines, often on Twitch, and he hasn't been used in the last few games. But just to let you guys know at home, tanks are being picked. And, of course, if you are wondering why we haven't passed down to the end of the table to our lovely Melly, it's because she's not with us today, unfortunately. Melly is doing her exams right now, obviously trying to get that education. That's why you stay in school, ladies and gentlemen. Don't just jump into esports head first. But, of course, Melly not with us, so we still want you guys to get involved with the conversation, of course. I don't think there's a map vote today. I think we'll be doing without that one. But you can still get in touch with us with the hashtag WGLEU on Twitter. I will still be able to feature your tweets to us. So, your funny, humorous, and very creative tweets, as they always are. We're happy to give some discussion and give some airtime to. It's always good to have you guys talk to us as well. And the obligatory Oliver picture is always appreciated. We are getting ready to go on this one here. Ruinberg to start things off. DiNG, as I said, looking strong on this one. We talked about ASAP. We talked about their changes. One big storyline for ASAP is that they didn't expect much from themselves this season. When we spoke, in fact, to Cephas at our media day, he said, we're not sure if we're ready for Gold Series yet. We're not sure about this. Looking at the results, it might be true. But still, this is a chance for them to prove themselves, not only to us, but also to themselves.
I think they can also take this as a kind of second coming, because if you look at the result which Wusa got, going down to 12th place, being automatically relegated, having to potentially fight their way through the wild card, which they've already done, have to fight tomorrow as well. They were so lucky. Like, Wusa technically had the more chance of staying in, and if they had managed to get the last result, the last game in the bag against Penta, which they just crashed out of 5-0, 5-1, then it would have been a totally different story. But ASAP's really lucky. They're not having to play that tournament. They're not having to be automatically relegated. So I think if ASAP can just use that positive side of the things, despite being all the way down in 11th place, then I think they will show us a good match here. I still think DiNG should have it. Obviously we're in the post kind of part of the season. Some changes are going to come in. Probably see a couple of new players which we haven't seen the whole season long in this lineup. But I think it's going to be good. For me though, the season's done and dusted. This is just the relegations over the next couple of days. Then we got the season finals in a couple of weeks. So on the 19th of September, of course, it's in Cologne, Germany. You should obviously go to worldoftanks.eu if you want to have a look at the thread. Everything's explained there. where it is, obviously in the ESL studios here in beautiful Cologne. There'll be a barbecue outside.
Nice.
Get some good food, get some good drink. There'll be TV screens you can chill out, watch the games on, and it's just going to be a good fun day. I think I mean, it's not like a 2-day slog like we used to have. It's just everything's packed into one day. 3 matches, 2 semi-finals, one finals. It's all going to be seeing who's going to be best there, and the winner, of course, will be walking away with a lot of pride and a lot of cash in their hand. So it's going to be good. I definitely recommend you should sign up on that forum thread on worldofttanks.eu.
That's it. Just around the corner, of course, those grand finals here. But what we are here today to do, if you just joined us or if you weren't sure, is to find out who will be dropping down, of course, out of the WGL, who will have the chance to come up and have their bite at the apple. And let's see, because, of course, today is our pre-relegation. So 4 teams here, as we've already explained it. Tomorrow, we will be having an 8-team single elimination bracket. Now, the 2 teams who drop down from today will have to play in that one there. One chance, and one chance only, of course, to keep themselves in the Gold League there, and they have to fight their way up there. So it's tough. It's perilous as well. Yep. To lose today, you have to fight all the way through this single elimination bracket here. So there's going to be some excellent games tomorrow as well. Be tuned in for that one here. So we are obviously getting ready to go in. Just waiting a couple seconds for these teams to get their stuff sorted out as well. And let's talk about DiNG as well, because we touched on it briefly here, but they're a team that is striving for recognition. You know what I mean? They believe they are one of those top teams, or they have the potential to be in that top 6 and not even have to face the prospect of relegation. Yep. Finding themselves in this position, though, can we charter their course throughout the season and think about how they got to here? Because they started with such high hopes, and now here they are fighting tooth and nail to stay in it. I think for DiNG, for me, it's at the beginning of the season, their results weren't that great either. Had some moments of brilliance for sure, but they just seem to lose the matches they should win. 100%. Like some of the matches they lost were just incredible, and a team that put so much work in and seemed to have so much potential right at the beginning of the season. Obviously Silver Series right at the top there. It's just unbelievable, and I think it is that they had the wrong mindset to the games they should have won. They had this mindset that, we're going to win this, whatever, and then they just bombed out like 5-1, 5-2. Tiebreakers came in, so I think they had a shaky start. They went up against Worcester at the beginning, struggled there, and then it just got worse and worse. It's like they canned the game the other day, like put everything into against First Pro, almost win that, and then go into the first round against Penta and just get absolutely obliterated. That's really the beginning of the story that often leads to, the conclusion. We'll have to see now what they can pull out for us. Of course, going up against ASAP, it's a match they've already experienced before, and a result that was very favourable for them. First map being Ruinberg is not one that they played ASAP on, but is definitely one that they have had success on through this season. I mean, yeah, definitely. You have to wonder about the Ruinberg pick here to some extent for ASAP. You've got to wonder, is this the wisest decision? You've got to be doing your homework on your opponents. You've got to be asking yourself, what are these teams picking? What are they playing? What are they doing well on? And what are they doing not so well on as well? We haven't seen ASAP play Ruinberg since early in the season as well. So they were pretty good on their games on that map. They were played up against teams that they actually had good success against for the most part. But here, of course, it's been a while. So, like, a lot's changed. It's hard for us to speculate here as well. Talking about Insane, yes, he's in the lineup as well. So, it'll be interesting to see how he affects things. Going to be moments away from this one here. I am pumped. So, don't forget to get your tweets in, of course. Hashtag WGLEU. If you are watching the stream, you should definitely get involved with us on Twitter. But it's time, ladies and gentlemen, to jump into our first map for the day. It's going to be the lovely map of Ruinberg.
Ruinberg, a mixed-type map. The defending team starts the battle on the green, and the attacking team starts at the central square of the town. Bases are located quite far from each other. Both bases are better controlled from the village. It's better to attack the first base through the top direction with the help of several well-armoured heavy tanks. For the attack on the second base, it's better to use a more mobile setup and either play through the centre or split forces. In general, the map is not easy to play on. Teams often use blind shots and risky shifting of the forces from one flank to another.
Well, you've heard it a few times, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to jump into this one. And, of course, big shout-out to our observer for today. It's got to be Oliver on the desk here, casting and observing at the same time.
Already screwed up. Just had a little shaky start. Yeah, it's been a long time, so do bear with us on that one. But we'll have to see how it goes. Obviously, at the beginning, we got DiNG just heading down to that southern side, going a little bit aggressive. Just a lot of tanks progressing there, not really wanting to go towards the eastern side straight off the bat. And you can see ASAP, of course, sitting up in that eastern village, just in a pretty standard position. What is this music?
I'm enjoying the clarinets in the background here. We're going to have to deal with it for the rest of this game now. As we see how things unfold, do note that our countback of damage isn't available today. So bear with us here as you see ASAP, of course, and DiNG just trying to set up here. DiNG, at this stage, hasn't made that play towards the zero line that we normally expect to see them do. At this stage, it looks like they just want to work straight up that outer road here. It's such calm music considering the atmosphere of the game. I think Oliver's got some clarinet music in the background just to get himself hyped
I got
up.
some clarinet music.
But that's fine, because at the moment here, I do want to see what ASAP do as a response. And this is a team that has struggled when they've had to come forward and be proactive.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think this is a new player. I mean, Dr. E back, it might just be one guy that's renamed his account. But, I mean, this is the thing, you know, DiNG, they seem to be a little bit wary. It's kind of strange because ASAP really didn't have anything on that zero line. They didn't have any light tanks there, so I'm a little bit surprised they didn't commit the AMX 3090 and the two T54 lightweights into K0. I can't be serious with this music. But I am pretty surprised. I mean, the normal thing to do is put the light tanks into K0, send your IS3s into cap number 2. Cat number 2, and then just, you know, push off into that eastern village with support with the light tanks which are just behind. So I mean, that's normal stuff. I'm pretty surprised that isn't being executed by DiNG right now. So we have got them up that northern side now, and to be honest, probably not a great idea. I mean, you got Killer Kid there and you got Jeanette. So that's two very good hull down tanks.
They do have the setup here, and this is DiNG just trying to find an opening here. They've got to go forward here. Murkar does take the first shot. Jeanette and Killer Kid, as you said, are set up in this position. The IS-3 and the 54 lightweight. You can see the push on now as Murkar is just trying to close the gap as he approaches. Jeanette will be taking the brunt of that damage, but only one shot, and he's able to back away. And you can see ASAP over on that eastern side of the map. They're setting up here, but DiNG have left some forces back in the middle. This could be interesting now to see how much damage that ASAP sustained getting into position. Vale is rolling straight across here. He knows DiNG have left some forces back. He's going to go and try and dig them out himself here. That's Dr. Eberklack, of course, and I think it was Pakushiat as well, forced to back away now. Diplomat on his own for the most part here, waiting for a bit of backup, getting some shots towards Killer Kid. That 3090 doing some serious work, and Killer Kid does go down. Valalea, the only man standing in that position now. ASAP getting chunked down bit by bit, and DiNG still have every tank to work with. This has been a very clean execution for them, and now Shoki's just going to go for Valalea. He'll get the finish on the way through, and now DiNG have full control right now. Insane. And Panachin having to deal with Pakushiat. Both of them trying to look towards that one IS-3 and get him off the map. But it might be a little bit too late here.
Yeah, I think this is game over. I mean, DiNG super aggressive up the north. Great execution with all their light tanks just coming from every angle. Just an unrelenting surge of damage from them. So it really worked out well. Then ASAP just came charging out that eastern village just because I think they thought DiNG would be going forwards. But what actually happened was that DiNG just sat around the corners and managed to do the damage they wanted to do. You know, they had the positions. I think it kind of faked ASAP into a position they simply weren't in. So great game by DiNG. Nice, easy pickup. 3.3k damage left on the board, and yeah, I mean, you really want that kind of game in your first round.
That was really well set up there by DiNG. Sometimes when we see teams go for that northern push or something a bit different, it doesn't always work out. It's almost like a desperation plan. Plan B, when plan A goes horribly wrong or they just can't find inroads there, and they just go for the north push and just hope something sticks. This time, though, a little bit of different setup here for DiNG, especially towards the middle of the map.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was like they had the 3 IS-3s there. What I was surprised by was that they didn't actually put them into the cap like you do normally. They just kept them there as a kind of bait, you know, oh, okay, so if DiNG are putting all their tanks up north, ASAP's thinking, okay, so we can get some sort of overmatch in towards that that half moon circle where the IS-3s are standing, which kind of happened. But the thing is, DiNG just stayed there, and then they had support from the center side, from the northern side as well. When you saw the T-54 lightweights and the IS-3 go down, which was pretty quickly, despite only having 3 tanks there at the beginning.
Of course, now the setup for DiNG is pretty striking. ASAP are going to see that and maybe have to start to think around that one now. And what we've seen is that the difference between those good teams and the great ones is where they can see that strategy happening and then change it. So obviously now we're going to go to another defensive round here for ASAP. Definitely one they want to win, especially the way that we know that Ruinberg tends to play out for defending teams. They have to respond to this now as well. If it's, whether it's putting a 5100 up there with a lightweight or with that IS-3, a little bit more beef in the north just to really stave off that push. Or the way they're set up in the middle there, they got sucked into that a little bit. Yeah. We see a lot of teams leave some presence in the middle of the map, but they kept them right back, just around, I call the Isne building now, the one that he gets up into with that IS-3. Yeah. So he was pulling, I guess, ASAP around, they were, should I say, in that direction, just to set up some sort of crossfire. It's a little bit of a tweak. We see little tweaks, little variations on a theme with a lot of these strategies here, especially on Ruinberg, where the scope of change is maybe a bit limited. But this one here is a little bit different, a little bit interesting here as well. ASAP have got to respond. I mean, it was a very, very clean execution for DiNG. They only lost one tank in the end.
Yeah, exactly. It was super clean, like 3.3k. I mean, let's say an average game is about 2,000 HP, where we can clearly see there's a team that's come out favourable. Having lost, let's say, 2 or 3 tanks, and it's a clear result. This was just totally one-sided. I mean, Meritorious 2.5k, QC at 1.3k. You can really see how that suction force of those IS-3s, getting those shots through the buildings, and having those kind of plays, being able to basically cancel out the Eastern Village. So I think a big misplay by ASAP to leave that area. Also, a lot of teams like to have a 5100 as a kind of backup plan between that Eastern Village and that Northern Village, where you can just quickly run it along the 0 line and bang in towards that northern side to help the T-54, the IS-3, whatever you have there. So that's not what we saw here. We saw a pretty slow ASAP and, a pretty decent DiNG. So about 2 minutes left into the beginning of the next round. For me, I would say to DiNG, don't get sucked into these situations. Don't get too over enthusiastic about them, and just have a level head. Don't let DiNG play their own game.
Now, of course, we're going to be heading into our second round in just a moment. How's our soundtrack? We got a better one queued in?
No, we've got the soundtrack sorted, mate.
Yeah, no more clarinets. Although, mate, it is though. It's a good way to get us in the mood here. I think everyone in Twitch chat is enjoying us. So, song requests, anyone? No, we've got copyright issues, of course, to deal with. We're going to jump in this one, of course. DiNG and ASAP, and DiNG getting that first attacking round. It's a way to make a statement on Ruinberg, and they've done this in every single one of their games this season on Ruinberg. They have had that attacking round. Let's see if they can get a second one here and really put ASAP in the hole. We're going to roll out here. Of course, DiNG in the blue are going to be on the attacking side. Will they go for that north push again? Right now, it seems like it's just a bit of a setup towards the middle. Let's see how they file out of those city streets.
Yeah, so I mean, that's 0-1. Obviously, the new version of the Obs mod. No idea why it's not displaying the numbers, but you got a nice little blue box there and below the DiNG, so that just tells you they've won one attacking round. But yeah, it's going to be a different rollout. I mean, you've got the IS-3s, the T-54s, and the T-37 in the middle, so kind of like a Kansler thing, where they have they have one tank in F1 just to provide firepower towards the tanks that are sitting up that F road, the middle road. So. I mean, let's see how it works out. I think it's a pretty decent setup, but DiNG won their previous round by being super aggressive and just going for that one push. So they're not going for that same thing twice. Anyway, Vale making good shots against Murakar. I think that was actually a blind shot. And well, ASAP at the beginning, at least this time round, are taking control of that 0 line.
Yeah, definitely pushing down it a lot more aggressively than we saw them. In fact, at least they're doing it at all. Last round, they did not even bother going for that direction. And already Vale getting a cheeky shot there on towards Murakar. He's forced to back away. Head back in towards the city streets here. So DiNG, again, not giving up too much here. They realise that working out on towards that field might be a little bit harder than they first anticipated. And much like last round, they're setting up more towards the city streets. It may, again, be that push towards the north side where the setup, to be honest, for ASAP is really similar. Killer Kid is out in front here in this lightweight, ready to back away. You see, he's got his rear end facing towards his enemy, but he can get in between those buildings if he has to. Janete Nocturna was there, and ASAP are also got those 2 IS-3s in reserve in positions that can fire over towards that A5 area if they have to. But right now they're looking elsewhere, mostly towards the center of the map. So Diplomat, he's the man just poking his head out, doesn't get the connection there. I don't know if he even had a spot. They're all blind shots coming through right now, but it does make Killer Kid a little bit nervous. He shifts back and forth. The ASAP play there, right on the frontier right now for ASAP. They really just want to try and hold on. They don't want the ball to be pulled over their eyes. They don't want to get caught by surprise here. They have good control of the map, and they just need to wait for DiNG to make their move.
Yeah, this is the thing though. I mean, DiNG are giving away all their cards right now. If they push up the north I'd be very surprised if ASAP doesn't expect that, because you got blind shots from the AMX 1390, you got Meritorious spotted on the cross, and you got the fact that DiNG did it the last round as well. So I just think this is maybe... I'm not seeing any retraction by ASAP at the moment. There's no tanks going up north for themselves. So I think this could be a mistake. If DiNG do manage to get the overmatch straight away, you know, you'll see Jeanette and T54 just go down immediately.
Meritorious there is actually able to bounce that one. It goes in towards his track, and Jeanette does take a shot in response. Meritorious continues to move forward. This time it's a penetrating hit as he's out in front of that column. You can see that the 1390 of Diplomat is approaching. Ricard will also be first to the fight. Jeanette Nocturno takes 2 big hits before any of the fighting really starts, and that could really bite him in the butt now as we see the push on towards him. Ricard coming forward, does take 1 hit, does take 2. Good response here from ASAP right now, but there are more tanks than just Ricard coming in towards his fight. Diplomat has that full chamber of autoloader shells ready to go, and he's got Jeanette's name on at least 3 of them right now. You see he is going to go down. Diplomat cleans him up. That's the first casualty for this map. That's an IS-3 already out. Killer Kid's forced to back up. He does have backup though, as Insane is moving his way down the hill. There's also another IS-3 here. ASAP want to squash this northern push as quickly as possible, but do they have the resources to deal with this cap or the tanks in the middle of the map?
Exactly, that's the thing. I mean, these tanks in the middle of the map are going to be a really interesting factor because you haven't got ASAP actually just pushing onto them immediately. So I want to see what Vale and Valalea can do, those 2 T54 lightweights. Dawn as well. We'll also have to see, you know, is that northern push actually going to work out? Diplomat's actually run away. He's not on reload anymore. You got a few just kills going back and forwards, and it is even right now, but I'd say DiNG still have a lot more HP.
Diplomat having a good time. They're just sending shots out from behind that wall. Insane takes out Shockies, but there's a double down there for DiNG. Valalea hits the deck as well as Killer Kid and Panachin, and that is brutal for ASAP right now. With only 3 tanks left to deal with this one. Vale very lucky to avoid taking any damage in that scenario. 1 hit to the track, 1 bounced off. He has a shot towards Dr. Eberclack. Sorry, dude. I really am. We've got Mr. Akar and Dr. Eberclack. I don't know. Val going to get hammered here. Shots from the front and behind. Even Pakushat going to get involved in this one here. The base capture is almost completing. Vale is in no position to reset. 2 of ASAP's tank could be able to reset from the north, but Meritorious, he's a tough nut to crack this one, and he looks like he will complete this. Dawn looking for the reset. I don't think he'll get it in time. I think that's the game, and DiNG have done it. A fantastic attacking side there, and yes, they have cleaned it up. DiNG 2-0 already, and that's 2 attacking rounds on Ruleberg. It is, we might see 2 defensive rounds, very common. Yeah. Attacking round and defensive round, also reasonably common. This, however, is very rare, and this, however, has got to be demoralizing if you're ASAP.
Exactly. You have 2 defensive rounds, then you have one attack, 1 defense. You have totally rare stuff, which is 2 attacking. We've had it like maybe 4 or 5 times this season. Yep. You know, count on one hand, basically.
And they've been precursors to stops or big margins at the end of Ruleberg.
Precisely. My next point was that, you know, we've basically got 2 rounds now where DiNG have, you know, executed well. I mean, not 100% polished, but really good rounds from them. ASAP have just crumbled. You know, had the T54s on 0 line the whole time. For what reason? Like, expecting a cap in number 2 with the 2 IS-3s. I don't know what they were really doing there. So 2 very one-sided rounds with multiple thousand HPs left for DiNG, the attacking team, which is just unusual full stop, because even if you win the attacking round, it should be a lot closer. You know, you should be basically walking away with, like, let's say 1,000, maximum 1,500 hit points in your favor.
It's normally very, very close on this map, especially if you're an attacking round that manages to carve out a round. It's not easy to do. It's just inherent, I guess, in the way that the map is set up, the way that Ruleberg works as well. That inherent bias that it can give over towards defensive sides, but you can see here that DiNG are overcoming this quite easily. You know, they still had 4 tanks left, a lot of damage being done, and Insane, you know, had a tough one there. Only 1 shot on that IS-3, and it was a killing blow, sure, but that's all he could do. Dawn, again, T37, not able to have a huge impact, but ASAP here looking very, very quiet.
Yeah, right now they really just, you know, not performing. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, we have to see what they can do on the attacking side. Maybe they can get 2 rounds themselves, and it's just DiNG having 2 very extraordinary rounds. But I would say this will be a very one-sided match. I mean, I don't see how ASAP can get into this if they are already 2-0 down. If DiNG are on form, if DiNG really are in a position where, hey, we really want to stay in the Gold Series for Season 2, and, you know, we've already had, you know, irrefutable proof that ASAP doesn't necessarily want to stay in the Gold Series. You mentioned Cephas at the beginning of the show saying to us, hey, you know, we're not ready for Gold Series. We need another season, or maybe in Silver Series, and we could actually perform up to the kind of, you know, potential we have as a team.
This kind of stuff takes time as well. A lot of our household names in the WGL EU have been at it for multiple seasons. Tornado Rocks is a slight exemption to this, but you've got to understand that they have been playing in other regions as well.
They played in Silver Series for 2. They actually qualified for Gold Series last season into Season 5, but there were some issues there. So they were disallowed. They weren't allowed to qualify. So they played another round of Silver Series, and you know, that's the reason. They were Gold Series already last season.
Yep.
They had another season to kind of mature themselves in Silver Series, and you can see how that's actually helped them.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to jump into our third round here on this match. Now, of course, you'd see the 2 zeros. That doesn't tell too much, but you can see the 2 boxes underneath DiNG's name. It's like Tekken. They've got 2 rounds.
It's just it's a change. The zeros mean just the tanks are live now. The boxes where you got to keep your eyes on. So 2 attacking rounds here for DiNG. Obviously now doing the old switcher, going on the defensive side. And already you can see the damage going towards Jeanette, Insane, and Panasarian as DiNG do seem ready for this push up the middle.
Yeah, and ASAP, I don't understand really. These IS-3s are coming forward. It's into a setup, of course, of DiNG. So yeah, so it'd be probably worth noting, of course, that DiNG is blue and ASAP is red in this scenario. They have changed sides. You can see DiNG just getting so much free damage on towards ASAP now as they did push out of that city. And yes, sure, 3 IS-3s. Yeah, it's a scary thing. It's intimidating. It's hard to penetrate those tanks, especially on the move. But still, there's a lot of damage. Look at Insane. Gets chunked right on down himself. Jeanette took a shot on his approach. And Insane is getting focused so well right now. ASAP having to respond in the north side as well. But look at this. There's not a push on towards these houses. They're just sniping on towards the mid. What is going on here?
I mean, they're really just losing every single situation right now. Let's be honest. ASAP are so far ahead. They got Panasarian locked down on his own. Yeah, you got to push up north, but PQCS just retreating back, trying to stay out of the action.
I'll tell you what now, only 5 tanks left for ASAP, and they're already out of position. Production is right up in enemy territory. He has very limited support. Great move by Pikusiat here to cut him off from the rest of his team. That IS-3 of Pikusiat now can push forward on towards the remaining tanks of DiNG, and there aren't many, and they're not well armored. They're definitely not well suited for this particular scenario. I mean, DiNG can spread out now, only losing Ricard there. The Wissy Veil drop down as well. Pikusiat makes that shot and connects it. It's only 254 lightweights and a T-37 left for ASAP.
Yeah, and they're sitting in the cap, these 2, just a last-ditch attempt, but I believe Pikusiat and Holtnik will both be in a good position to get this one reset. And also you got the 2 light tanks from behind any second now.
Because if Valet and Dawn just huddling together, you can see Killer Kid as well is on site. This is all the tanks of ASAP trying to last-ditch attempt at a capture, but it's not going to work out. It's wishful thinking if I've ever seen it. And Valalea and Dawn going to get chunked away with Killer Kid as well. We can even see Shockish from behind on that T21 doing the damage, getting it done. And even Diplomat wants a piece of this one. He gets right in the face of Valalea and starts to chunk him right on out. ASAP now, well, they are facing the firing squad at the moment, and they are not going to last long. You can see Killer Kid, last man standing. Diplomat have the reload on him and will finish him off.
Yeah, it'll be another good round here for DiNG. I mean, 3-0 in a row. This is, I mean, there's not much to analyze. This is just brutal destruction of ASAP from every single angle. You've got, you know, them pushing through the middle of the IS-3s. DiNG knew it straight away. They had the T-54s in the middle making the shots. And, you know, if your plan gets found out within the first 45 seconds of the game, I'd usually just say don't go with that plan because it's just not going to work out. So you had, you know, a good situation where they just got split in that middle road. One IS-3 went on the right side, the other one went on the left side. That's just the game over for those 2. And they had the lightweights up north. You know, not doing anything basically, just sitting up there, you know, sitting around, maybe doing some sniping shots, not engaging onto PQCat, which should have happened. And then, you know, they went down to the cap eventually, which of course was just too late for them. So I'm not sure. I would say this is definitely, again, DiNG's game to lose. They are just playing on form, and there's nothing else to say, to be honest.
Yeah, that's right. We actually you know, could bring up replays, but there's not really much to show of that last round. I think it's pretty straightforward exactly how it works. So ASAP, their initial push or their initial setup is not working, and it's disappointing to see here because obviously their you know, their attacking side is faring no better than the defensive one, and that obviously is going to be breeding some sort of concern here. So I think we're going to see a bit of a change up in tanks here, of course, as you know, ASAP have their last shot at it. try and set themselves up here, at least to have the one round out of Ruinberg. And if not, this will be DiNG's best performance on Ruinberg all season. A 4-0 would set them up. I mean, then the next map being Mines as well, ASAP. That was their first game of the season was on Mines as well. They had to play Supreme, and honestly, they haven't really been impressive on that one all season.
No, exactly. I mean, I think the only map which I'd say ASAP's really good on though is Steps. I mean, they've been going to that map time and time again. They saw some good results. A bit like No Mercy, you know, they've been going to Steps. You know, some of the more not so normally pig maps, maybe Ghost Town, that kind of thing. So, yeah, I would say this is definitely going to be a hard game now for ASAP to come back from 3-0 down. Needs to really work through this one. And but again, you know, it's not like I can see any light, you know, at the end of the tunnel. It's just they've been systematically destroyed in every single kind of aspect of the game.
Yep, it definitely has been pretty thus far for ASAP, and they have to change things up now. They're changing their tank picks, of course. Another attacking round for them here. Bringing up 1-3 wouldn't be the worst thing in the world here up against a team like DiNG, but with Mines just around the corner, a map that DiNG last time they played ASAP on did go 2-0 on, and again, DiNG don't have to play all 4 rounds of this one, especially if they get, you know, a 4-0. It might just be that 1 round on Mines, not even enough time for ASAP to really set up and acclimatize and adjust and adapt all these things that, you know, top teams can do given the space to do so. This could be a very, very sad story for ASAP, and it'd be sad to see them drop down now, of course. And obviously, a loss here in this series will mean that they drop into tomorrow's single elimination bracket against our teams from the wildcard and from the Silver Series. So there's no break for them. They jump straight out of the frying pan and into the fire in a do-or-die setup here. It's a single elimination here. So every time you lose a round, that's that team gone. That's a team gone. Be interesting to see what these new teams have to bring towards them as well. So some of them are watching right now, you know, licking their lips and just, you know, waiting for a taste of blood in the water to see who their opponents are going to be tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, already we've got Outer Range, one of the Polish teams. Carmen back in the league, yippee.
God help us.
God damn it. But yeah, he's back, and we'll see how his team performs. He hasn't really been one of those top teams for a while, so hopefully he can actually you know, achieve what he wants to set out to do next season, which is, of course, be one of the top 3, I guess. So another Polish team in the league. Then we got 4 Silver Series teams, 2nd to 5th. They'll have a chance to fight the 2 wildcard teams from the 4th of September, which is, of course, Friday. They'll be playing as well. That's Wusa and the Wild Bunch. So those 2 are great teams. I mean, the Wild Bunch have been around for ages, definitely respected players within the esports scene. And then, of course, we got the 2 losers today, which does look like right now it will be ASAP. Obviously, we've got the next game coming up after this one.
Which, of course, is going to be a whole nother story in itself. So we'll cross that bridge when we get to it now. But we're going to be heading into game for our last round in a moment, of course. Ruinberg. Now, the setups here, we saw DiNG, so ASAP did opt for a tank change here, a whole lineup change. So they're going to be changing things up a little bit more here. But still, it's going to take a little bit more than different tanks from the looks of things to bring out the victory here. They absolutely have to go for the jugular. It's not uncommon to see teams just take that 1 round away, just mix it up, go for something a little bit different instead of just giving your opponents a very large amount of, you know, warning as you trundle towards them in IS3s.
Exactly. Let's hope they can actually get around on the board here. I really do like ASAP as a team, and I really would prefer if they just manage to get themselves sorted for at least 1 round and they can actually play on form. But a lot of work again, and let's see if they can do it this time round. KV5 rollout from DiNG, full KV5, and you can already see the pure DPM potential of this tank. A lot of HP, 1,780, that's basically more than any other tier 8 heavy tank. And apart from the fact that it's got a really weak frontal turret here, the Radioman's turret, it's a brute.
Yeah, stop. Don't pretend this is normal. Don't analyze this and make this seem like this is super legitimate. This is a DiNG going for something wacky, I guess. They've got the freedom to do it now, but I mean, KV5s are sponges for these shots here. But they're not the most well-armored tanks. Yeah, they got their health, and they, you know, as I said, the little Radio Man attach is such a massive weak spot. Someone said to me once, you're better off driving a KV5 backwards down the road instead of forwards because of the weak spots there. I have no idea how this is going to play out.
I know, man. I would say DiNG still win it because they've just been amazing.
Oh my god, look at all the health they have as well, over 10k. They're pushing on towards this cap. They're getting in the faces of ASAP. ASAP do have a bit of flexibility here with those 54 lightweights here, but geez, to go out in your final match against a bunch of KV5s just slapping you on the backside as you run off, that would be a little bit embarrassing here as Valno just trying to back away. Hulknick and Rakar, well, they're on the northern cap here. It's going to take a long time to get to the southern one, so let's hope they're happy with staking their claim on that part of the map. Diplomat shots coming in towards him. Camera shakes, of course, as they rattle on through. Valno having to deal with Meritorious as well. There's so much health at 1390. There's only so much you can do against these massive titans of tanks. Bakushian pushing forward now. He's a little bit, got to be careful here. He does absorb some shots that the KV5s would otherwise have taken. Killer Kid's trying to back away, but DiNG, they're on a rampage. So these KV5s are the vehicles of destruction.
Unbelievable how much damage they're doing. The DPM is just insane. They're just annihilating ASAP one by one, and this is pure cheese from DiNG right now. Pure Stilton, mature cheese, and it's working.
Oh, some Parmesan up on that pass to have a look. Hulknick now coming in towards, and from behind as well. Since when does a KV5 flank? 3 IS3s, you can see now Bakushian getting in behind him as well. Shoki's in his own LTTB, putting down some damage. Diplomat also is contributing to this one here, and ASAP, bit by bit, getting chunked on down. Yeah, sure, each shot not doing a huge amount of damage, but it is the rate of fire of these KV5s that makes them so powerful. Panachin will finally bow out, and only one tank. Casualty for DiNG.
Man, I've seen some things before. I've seen a lot of interesting full TOG lineups and stuff in matches that don't matter. When we had the 22 match days, when you already had your fate sealed within match day 9 or 10, then you saw the last match day, TOGs coming out of the garage. You got the FVs coming out. You had all sorts of weird stuff. But in a match where everything does really matter, I never expected to have a KV5 being brought.
It's filthy.
It's pure
it's
filth.
Nothing short
It's pure filth.
Putrid.
It's pure filth.
Still, it worked, and in a big way, can I just say. Only one tank down as well, and DiNG got to dispense with all the strategy that they spent all season sort of thinking about here. So, I mean, match point coming up now already. 4-0 in favour of DiNG. Can you possibly analyse that last round at all?
No, because I would make.
You know what? Notes.
I'll be
Doesn't matter.
I'll be dirtying myself if I do that. I mean, the filth would be transferred onto me. I just washed this shirt. I'm definitely not going to get it dirty.
Going to get sullied, of course.
Exactly.
Well, I think you guys could see it for yourself there. It was quite simple. Those KV5s pushing forward as a team. Very, very hard to focus them down. I mean, especially up against a lineup that is using the 3090s, some lightweights as well. I mean, these KV5s, their DPM is comparable to those lightweights. Their rate of fire is almost as high.
5 or 6 seconds.
Yeah, so it's quicker then.
It's just insane. It just wrecks you. But the thing is, I mean, a better team would have been able to counter that with a lineup. I mean, let's be honest here. The lineup from ASAP was better with the MX 3090s, the IS3s. You have a good combination of everything. So, I think DiNG thought basically ASAP aren't on form. We can do whatever we want to win this. We could pick anything. They could pick full tier 6s, even though that's not allowed in 754. They could pick basically anything. And they decided to do that. If I was going to analyze what ASAP did wrong, come from behind, use those light tanks, so just get into these brawls from the front. And they decided to engage DiNG with all their light tanks in that eastern city when they could have just kited them around.
Yeah.
Use the IS3s, kite them around. They're faster than the KV5. Use the MX T54 lightweights to come from behind. Sit in those bushes that are up in that northern village, and then just shoot invisibly onto the back of the KV5s, which are Russian tanks which set on fire pretty easily.
That's right. And the KV5s, of course, not the most sprightly of tanks as well. You can maneuver around them. You can avoid them here. But it seems like DiNG took that option away from ASAP now, and that is that 4-0 on Ruinberg. She's done and dusted, and in quite striking style, it's safe to say here as well. I mean, dare we have a look at damage countbacks and look at our top players? I mean, it was Diplomat with 2,374 damage. That is a ridiculous amount as well. Shockish as well. Shockish on the LTTB getting second top damage. So it wasn't exactly a matter of who did the most damage, but who soaked up as much and as well. And you could see, as we loaded into that game, I think it was 10,500 health points in total on DiNG. That's a lot to try and chunk down when your team is spawning, those double 54 lightweights, a 37 or 3090, not DPM machines, especially the 3090 that has to reload as well. You pretty much leave a scratch on a KV5 and you're like, well, I'm getting out of here.
Exactly.
So, next.
Just damage the paint wagon, that's about it. But yeah, you can fight around that. You sit in the caps, you kind of draw out those LTTBs, you take them down. and then you rotate to the other cap because the KV5s are coming to reset you if you have to. So there's ways around, health points, and we've seen that this season. But yeah, I mean, 4 rounds in a row. We're going on to Mines, which is the second map. Is it going to be 5 rounds?
I don't know, ladies and
gentlemen. The biggest question of the season, boys.
Yeah, okay, we'll find out anyway. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to have a look at Mines.
Mines, a small summertime map with lots of hills, rocks and other cover. The teams start the battle in the usual locations. But the base locations are different. One is located in the bottom part of the village, and the other one is in the water. The key directions here are the hill and the island. That's why the teams will often select fast vehicles and tanks with strong turrets.
Well, ladies and gents, it pains me to say it, but it might be a quicker night, especially a quicker match here with DiNG already 4 in the pocket. But at least they're going for a little bit more of a standard lineup this time, Oliver.
Yeah, they've gone back to the serious mode here. I think they knew they could have a round to throw away on that one. But yeah, they're back to the T-54s and already getting good damage against Killer Kid. But P-Cent does receive a couple as well. And to be fair to ASAP, they do have the hill now. With quite a few tanks, a couple of those T-54 lightweights. So just getting the IS-3s into good locations, but you got the surging forces of the IS-3s now going forward to DiNG.
That's right, going straight towards Junette. Looking straight at him, his shots coming in. Not all of them connecting right now. You can see Valaleya taking one, Mr. Ricard being just backed away off that hill. Vale is getting involved, and DiNG are taking a lot of free damage right now. Hulking trying to get some unanswered damage of his own now. We have some lag on our spectators, ladies and gentlemen. Just bear with us here. Hulking will get the finish on towards Junette, though, and Dawn is weathering the storm right now. There's a big hit going towards him now as he just tries to back on away. Another shot towards him there. Panachin also under questioning right now. ASAP starting to lose his damage battle before. It looked like they were ahead, but now things have turned around. DiNG still have all of their tanks on the field. It's a huge difference it makes. And Ricard pushing up on towards the hill. Dr. Eberclack as well is getting involved. And Val has had to back around the corner, try and get some crossfire with Killer Kid right now. Dr. Eberclack just going to soak up some damage. He gets one good shot over towards Dawn, and Val goes down as well. ASAP, this is it. This is their journey. They have to continue on towards tomorrow now to even have a chance to stay in. But what a great turnaround on damage now. DiNG might be on the back foot here. As you can see, some good shots from ASAP coming in. DiNG down towards 500 health, but they have 5 tanks towards 2. Panachin Insane. What can you do with these 2 tanks right now? DiNG, oh, I can see. DiNG now, the damage count back is trying to catch up with this. That's pretty hard to keep up with, but that's it. DiNG go 5-0 there. They send ASAP absolutely packing to tomorrow's relegation games, and they cement their spot in the next season of the Gold League.
Yeah, I think, I mean, what can we say about that game? Completely one-sided from the first round where we saw 3,500 hit points still on the side of DiNG, and it just continued like that. I think ASAP already defeated before they entered. They said already the season that this just wasn't their season in Gold Series. I think that's really cemented in this match. Tomorrow's a whole other story. Will they be able to beat the Silver Series teams? And we've seen a lot of Silver Series teams are just on par with the Gold Series teams, especially those lower ones. So I honestly don't see a way back for DiNG. I think if they're on this form again, they're going to get washed aside.
That's right. So DiNG obviously now, they advance. They're done. No more relegations, no more risk, no more sudden death for them. They've made it through to the next season. Congratulations to them as well. We hope to see more of them coming right up. But the story for ASAP is a little bit more grim. Tomorrow, they will be entering into that single elimination tournament to decide their fate. It's been a very underwhelming performance from them now. If they want to stay in the Gold League, they must turn things around overnight. Literally overnight is when it has to happen.
Exactly. They really need to set up. We're going to be watching 1 quarterfinals, 1 semi-finals, 1 finals, so we might actually have a chance of watching ASAP play tomorrow, but we at least get to keep an eye on the bracket and see how they're performing. Obviously been played on the ESL platform, play.eslgaming.com. Just hit on World of Tanks, you'll see the bracket up there if you do want to follow it, and we'll be putting links in the chat tomorrow. So yeah, I mean, DiNG now, as you mentioned, cemented themselves into the season. But for them, the story's just begun. They've got a lot of work to do as a team. They've got a lot of issues to fix. And yeah, 8th place for them this season, I don't think an acceptable one for them.
No, absolutely not. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a quick break. And when we come back, we're on to match 2 of tonight. It's going to be a Polish derby to see who is going to cement their spot in the next season of the Gold Series. Stroxiema, No Mercy coming at you when we return.